provide some context for new people jumping in. So, last place a lot of people left off, and the last time that we did a Marvel Plopcast was on the...
Did we even put it out?
No, that one never came out. So we've not talked about the all-new.
So it's not even a secret on the internet. It's like it just never happened.
Please, panel, explain to everyone what happens with the all-new, all-different.
Well, I'm gonna let Kirk and Amy take this one. Secret Wars. Is it over yet? Is Secret Wars done?
Officially, finally
happened.
And please explain what is Secret Wars.
What is Secret Wars? And yay, it's done.
So occasionally in comics they do event comics, that means like a giant special book that either goes along with the ordinary stuff or interrupts it. And this time it was a big interruption, all from May to September over at Marvel. Everything that you know stopped, and a bunch of weird stuff happened. And it was all over the map. Some of it was super, super fun. Some of it worked less well, but it was like a million different what-if universes smushed into one.
Yeah.
There was one core spine story called Secret Wars. We've been joking about it a lot because it was supposed to be 8 issues and done in September, and instead it was 9 issues and done yesterday, in January of 2016.
What? How many months after they relaunched All New, All Different? October was when they relaunched?
Yep. It was supposed to be done, and then the new stuff would start in October with a bunch of new number ones, and it would be exciting and easy and a clean slate, and that is not exactly how it happened.
And to be fair, it was only supposed to be 6 issues.
Oh, was it?
I think so, and I think it's like now 9. I know that the 9th was definitely added on.
Yeah, I didn't do any of that shit. I was like, in fact, Secret Wars single-handedly ruined my Marvel Comics, like, excitement all of last year. I was like, I don't have time for what-ifs. Like, I want to know what's actually, like, I wanted real stories with real continuity things, and then, I've been hearing some things about the X-Men and how they may not have any X-Men comics, or that they're going to get rid of them or do something crazy, and so I've been, like, holding my breath, waiting for what's going to happen. They finally... This month, they have all the new X books that are out, which is 4 X books. We have, let's see here. Okay,
for those keeping you track at home,
we have Extraordinary X-Men, which is supposed to be kind of the flagship title, and then we have All New X-Men making up the All New X-Men team from before with the teenage original X-Men that are displaced in time, and then there's also Uncanny X-Men with all the villains in it. And then, I don't know where that one went. It's somewhere. I just got it today. And then also, there's a Wolverine book, All New Wolverine, with X-23 as Wolverine. Yeah. Wolverine's dead.
She is the new Wolverine.
Yeah. She's got the outfit on. She's doing it. I thought that All New Wolverine was going to be my least favorite. I thought it was going to be, like, kind of lame. And I picked it up anyways. Because, it's only 4 titles. I'll pick them all up. Yeah. It's my favorite by far. It's so good. It's so good. I'm so into it. She's awesome.
Gotta be like most unexpectedly awesome book out of this class for me. Yeah. Was just being like, well, it's X-23. I'll see what she's
before we get into details, so what is the top 5 best comics so far in the all new, all different line?
Well, I think we can all agree that Doctor Strange is the number 1. All new, all different.
I love it. There's a new Doctor Strange book. It's a couple issues in. It's very, very new reader friendly, which is one thing I love about it.
Jason Aaron writing it.
Okay, great. We'll go into that later.
Yeah,
what else is good?
Okay.
A couple of my favorite books from before have picked up basically where they left off. Very successfully. Ms. Marvel continues to be fantastic. Mm-hmm. Thor, written by Jason Aaron, who's been doing that book for the last couple of years, it continues to be fantastic.
Yes.
I wouldn't sneak it onto most people's top 5, but my absolute favorite book right now is The Unbeatable Squirrel Girl.
Yeah.
Which is just 100 times as good as it should be. Ryan North is a fucking genius.
I like the fact that they actually really do understand who's reading that comic, because they even make jokes like just directly to their audience. Especially when they went, hey, by the way, this is our second issue this year.
Here you go. You can show that off.
Only our second number 1 so far this year.
That's hilarious, guys.
Okay, let's come back and talk about Squirrel Girl. What else is good? How about Vision? Anybody pick up Vision?
I haven't read Vision yet.
I've read Vision, but I was going to get to that. Kirk, you go, and then we'll get back to me.
Okay, so I'm definitely all about, again, Miss Marvel. I'm really glad that that's just picking up right where it left off, because arguably that entire run that Wilson did it's right up there with Fraction's Hawkeye for me. It might be a perfect comic book run. So the fact that, like, even though we're doing a huge reboot, I'm so happy that Wilson is just like, no, guess what? Status quo. You guys are totally cool with Miss Marvel this way. We're going to keep writing it like that.
Yeah.
So that's been stellar. I'm definitely on board with Doctor Strange. Again, Mighty Thor. Believe it or not, my favorite titles are Avengers titles that don't have the name Avengers in it. I'm very, very I think Ultimates is a fantastic high concept comic. I did not bring that with me. Forgive me. And then also number 1, Squadron Supreme, and number 2. That was a very bold, exciting story that they're telling with these guys, considering they there's going to be spoilers in this podcast, by the way, guys. I'm sorry about that. This issue was very, very special and important because they actually killed off Neymar.
For now.
What?
Like,
So that teaser that just came out, dead, no more. And I'm like, wait, who's dead right now?
yeah, we're starting to make like the Deadpool list. Like, all right. But there is some really cool stuff. There are some new original ideas, but I'm still. It's almost still too early because they're still rolling out number 1. Some issues have hit like number 5. Meanwhile, we're still waiting for Miles Morales Spider-Man. So.
There's a wide swing right now of like they're taking a chance on a lot of weird stuff that has me really excited.
Yeah.
They've shuffled around some creative teams in ways that have me really excited. There is stuff that they didn't mess with since before the break. My greatest source of confidence in Marvel right now is the stuff that they did not throw out. Even though they rebooted their entire universe, but they still kept Spider-Gwen in her own corner because they realized they shouldn't mess up a good thing that they had going. Yeah. There's one big exception to this sort of general level of confidence that I have in all of the stuff that they're doing that we've been talking about is like our big disappointment with the new line. But in general, I'm pretty happy with a lot of the stuff that they're doing.
Yeah, there's a lot of really fun stuff. Another thing that I really love is the Vision. This is like such a weird comic. It's 3 issues in. It's like the Vision has created a synthezoid wife and 2 kids, a son and a daughter. And they've decided to live in suburbia, and they're going to pretend to be normal people and have a house and have neighbors and go to school and do all these things. But obviously, I don't know, it's just so weird because it's like robots trying to be human, but then they're still robots, but then they're more human than they realize, and then it's just like there's dark stuff in it, like super dark stuff in it that's like, I don't know, it's hard to explain. It's kind of like T-Bone, you said it reminded you of American Beauty.
Oh yeah.
Mixed with the Vision, you know? So I think that's a really great way
I think Vision's really exciting. I'm eager to read the rest of that.
You definitely hit on something. It is hard to explain because the comic doesn't come right out and explain itself right away.
There's a lot of, how is this related to the Vision?
Yeah, it really just throws you right into the story, and you kind of have to just go along with it. And about 4 or 5 pages into it, I realized I'm really kind of invested in this.
Yeah.
I only read the first issue, but I'm not sure what it is, but it's good.
Yeah, I'm down with the Vision.
Yeah, I get excited
weird
when I read a comic and I feel like it would make a good movie right away, and that was one of those.
Yeah.
That Doctor Strange too.
So all new Wolverine. Out of all the X-Men books, it's the only one that's worth anything.
In your opinion, yeah.
In my humble opinion. It's great. I really like this one a whole lot. It's like you got X-23, Laura Kinney. She is, if you don't know about her, she is a teenage female clone of Wolverine who was cloned by some sort of military organization to try to make, killer assassin peoples.
Her origin's actually really dark.
Yeah. I actually, I was reading NYX that she came out in. I loved that comic back in the day. And so, it was
I was a sheltered little teenager, and I was like, whoa, this is kind of extreme.
Yeah.
They did not. No one knew. When that thing came out, no one knew what to do with it.
I know, and it got canceled. It sucked,
and the covers were so amazing.
God, so good. But yeah, so this is about her. She's donned the outfit, the cowl, as it were. She's now dressed up as Wolverine. Wolverine's been dead, so she's taken the mantle. And so she is getting mixed up with some situations where she finds there are more clones of her. Some younger, some about the same age, some have white hair. It's weird, but she's trying to get to the bottom of their situation. They're assassins, and then they were bred by somebody, and what's going on? And they're dying. I don't know. It's it's fun. It's a mystery. You get a little bit of her with Angel. They're dating the teenage Angel.
Is great, by the way.
Should not work, but it's really fun.
It works, and I like how they're always trying to figure it out. He's always trying to catch her when she falls or is on fire or something, and she's like, "Stop! I'm fine." It's really funny. It's really cute. So yeah, I'm into all new Wolverine. Now the rest of the X-Men, I'm not feeling at all, personally. And I knew that this was I knew that something, I could just feel it in the air.
Those other X-Men books in the camera.
I just feel it in the air. I felt that the X-Men were getting ready to get fucked. And I was right. My gut was right. It's so true.
And why? Why is that?
I mean, okay, so you have the flagship title, Extraordinary X-Men, which is supposed to be their good guy team. Storm's in the lead. They literally have them placing the school in limbo. In a hell dimension. They're literally living in a hell dimension.
As an X-Men story, it's an interesting, like, they've done a lot of great stuff in limbo, and it's an interesting, like, oh, yeah, you do have access to a place that people can't go.
It's a spice. It's not where
you pointed out.
Fucking like, hang out all the time.
And on a meta level, it's a little...
Yeah, it's like totally a fuck you. And it's just all because, you know, Marvel is bummed on Fox having the mutants and they want to kind of fuck them over when their movie is coming out this year. So they're kind of, you know, not putting out great stories for the X-Men, you know, which kind of sucks for me because I don't like what Fox is putting out personally. So I have bad X-Men movies and now I also have bad X-Men comics. So it's just kind of like, I guess I got to go do independent stuff for a while and just come back in a few years. Maybe.
Hey, guess what? I mean, the good news is with a lot of indies, you're going to find your X-Men stories in other comics.
Yeah. I haven't even seen Quentin Quire. Where is he?
He hasn't shown up yet.
Where is he?
But like for instance, for someone like you, 19, I would say if you're not finding your X-Men story in this, I would recommend something like They're Not Like Us. Which is a really cool X-Men story. Yeah. Without it being X-Men. You will find your X-Men out there. Yeah. You will find those stories.
I know. It's
Image Comics, figures.
You know, this is the thing that, like, when Jason Aaron was doing it with Wolverine and the X-Men.
I missed that book.
It was just like them at the school, and they were having adventures, and it's like, it was so nice for them to just have a minute to breathe and to just see these new characters and these new kids, and like it was a lot of fun, and like iBoy's hilarious, and like more of Brew, please. And then now it's all about, oh, the Terrigen Mists have started the Mpox and we're all dying again and there's no new mutants and we have to flee into a hell dimension because everything sucks so bad. And then fucking Mr. Sinister shows up with a fucking stupid Cyclops fucking inhuman clone that makes me want to puke. I hate it. I hate all of it.
It's partly wondering, like, it's tough not to judge these by what we know is going on behind the scenes, because a lot of the stuff that's happening is totally valid X-Men stories, but the timing is weird because the X-Men just climbed out of a very similar version of this situation in 2012's Avengers versus X-Men.
That's right.
Yes.
They just lit the mutant race back up. We went through the near extinction of the mutant race and the growing militarism. Like, we've seen a lot of these stories play out, and like, I don't think they're trying to tank them, but they may be making them a less of a priority. And
I mean, does it immediately just make you feel like that they just did not give 100% as far as like the creativity end of it, where they kind of went, well, that idea worked, we'll just kind of like put a new coat of paint on it
I'm sure these creators aren't trying to write bad books, but also
especially
Bendis
like
isn't writing them anymore.
Yeah.
And also something that I take a lot of offense to is in Uncanny X-Men 600, which came out before Secret Wars was done, but after
but still got
the
delayed.
6 months were coming out, like it was super messed up. And then, but it was like the ending to Bendis's run, you know, and he's been on there for a while. It's like a couple years or something like that. And so during this whole time, post AVX and all that, Cyclops has been this mutant terrorist type figure, and is he or isn't he? You know, this has been the big question going back and forth. You know, and you see him from his perspective, and I mean, he's not really doing anything that's fucked up in my opinion.
And
really.
right at the beginning of the Uncanny run, he was getting a little hardcore with like showing up and starting fights. But it was
but, like,
and he broke out of prison. That's not a good
But he got
move,
out of his system, you know, whatever. And then like, but by the end of that run in Uncanny 600, Bendis redeemed him, where he has his like I have a dream kind of situation where he gets all the mutants to come, and they're like, this is what they're afraid of. They're afraid that we're all going to band together and take over. And here we are, and we're all banded together. We're in Washington D.C. We could take over right now if we wanted to, and we're not. And then, like, everyone's like, this is awesome, you know? Storm is like, this doesn't change anything, you know? And, like, Kitty's like, actually, I think it does. Like, it was so wonderful. And, like, I loved what a great arc that was, that he finally redeemed himself. And then, post-Secret Wars.
We still have no idea. I mean, as of right now, do we know what happened with Scott?
Well, spoilers, they're claiming that he attacked a bunch of the Inhumans and
was killed. Yeah, that's what I heard.
So we're right back into hardcore.
Fucking really?
And everyone
as if they
hates
didn't
him,
actually know what had happened at the end. We might want to explain that this would probably also be bothering us less, except that they have very much turned the Inhumans from what they used to be into the X-Men.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what hurts. It's
So they've now
tough.
made that rivalry direct because they've established that the thing that empowered the Inhumans is literally hurting and killing.
Literally.
So they've actually put them.
Inhumans-
The subtext is rapidly becoming text.
It's
Like-
it's
I'm
there's
curious.
in no uncertain terms. This is what's happening.
Anyone? Have you guys ever actively taken interest in the Inhumans?
I love the Inhumans.
No.
The-
See, I'm curious. No, that's why comments down below. I want to know who's reading the Inhuman titles right
loved
now.
Oh, I
Inhumans?
haven't read them.
I want to know.
I mean,
I'm curious.
That's like making fetch happen. Like nobody wants the Inhumans. Nobody wants the Inhumans.
I love the Inhumans, but I never wanted them to be the X-Men.
You don't want them to be
Right.
the X-Men. We already have the X-Men, and they're
Well,
awesome.
I have a
and
question.
It makes sense.
Okay, I have a question. How much are they attempting to merge the Marvel Cinematic Universe into the comics universe? Because I heard that was part of this all new, all different line, and how is that working out?
Do you want to get into the politics of this right now?
Briefly.
Okay. I think this is definitely coming more under the line of the Marvel Cinematic, but you can definitely tell where things are ambiguous with licenses that they don't have anymore. Like, so our entire conversation about the X-Men that we've talked about, that's a license they don't have.
Right.
So here we are kind of going, again, literally, putting them in limbo. Like, that's very strange. But then I read the new Daredevil, which I'm really kind of
And
digging.
this isn't just
That feels so much like-
interpretations. Everyone feels like this is really happening.
Yeah.
I'm on the fence with it. Like, obviously, yes, they by turning the Inhumans into the mutants and kind of marginalizing the mutants, like, that part does seem pretty deliberate. But we also, for years now, we have all sort of jumped every time they do something that looks like it's that, like, we interpret it that way whether it is or not. Like, this past Secret Wars turned out to be a story all about Reed Richards and Doctor Doom. And if that movie had been a hit,
So
we would
fucking
be
good, by the way.
accusing them of pandering by doing a Fantastic Four story all summer.
Right.
Since the movie wasn't a hit, we're like, they're sidelining them. And yes, they don't have a book right now. But the characters are still out there doing stuff.
Right.
Mutants are still all over the Marvel Universe.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I change my mind on, like, a daily basis of whether we're being entirely fair or not when we assume that these things are all a result of
You're like
behind
me,
the scenes.
Amy. That's what I do. Yeah.
I don't know. But
just-
then I
She
doubted
makes up
it.
her mind and sticks to it.
Yeah.
Well,
But,
no, it's
but
just what I
it looks
feel.
like you're right. Like, looking over time, 2 years ago, I was like, hell no, they're not replacing the mutants with Inhumans. That is crazy talk. And obviously, I was wrong.
they are. I mean, they
Okay,
are.
so I got a
They're
question
doing
for
it.
you guys.
Sucks.
Let's admit it. Like, in this day and age now, when it comes to movies, pop culture, and comic books, the audience knows too much. Like, the curtain's been drawn back. Like, we know everything now. We are getting updates on the rights have been sold. This is the director. This is the casting.
Yeah.
These are set pictures. We see that with comic books. So, do you think does that affect how you guys read these comics? Does that affect how you feel?
Well, I mean, you just knowing the politics, like, I mean, that's the thing is I've been reporting on comics, comic book movies, and movies, and all these things. So it's like I know a lot about the politics that are going on, and so it's like when Marvel isn't just Marvel anymore. Marvel is a part of Disney. They're not thinking like Marvel. They're thinking like Disney, and this is how Disney thinks. Like
good
they
point.
are ruthless, and they will do whatever it takes for marketing and all these things because they have a million analysts and pie graphs and charts, and so that's what they're doing. And like
They have pie charts. People, be careful.
it's like they have analytics. They've got analytics.
Math.
And so
At the same time, if we just look at it as them serving those overlords, then, like, you look at, for instance, the Mark Waid Avengers book right now. Like, if someone picks up the Avengers, it's starring Kamala Khan, Miles Morales, and Nova.
I know, and
No
that-
movie fan is making that happen.
that's-
People with actual ideas for books they want to see are making that happen. I think. I could be wrong.
Yeah, no, I mean, but that's the thing. Like, it is odd to me that the Avengers book is not doing a marketing thing because it is all a bunch of like non-movie Avengers on the Avengers team. But then the X-Men are getting fucked. Like, it's like I don't get it. Like I don't get it. Like somebody really hates them. I feel like, or something. I don't know. Like somebody's in charge just doesn't dig them.
Because it is
I don't
interesting.
know.
You watch some of the other Avengers titles going on right now. And I don't want to put too much of my opinion out there, but you look at the lineups, and I'm kind of going, there's nothing familiar with the cinematic universe right now as far as some of the Avengers lineups. So it's very interesting but you have the rights to these. So why don't you just do an Avengers comic with all the actor analogs that you've created in the comics on that team? So you're right. There is still them being a little bit more daring.
Clearly serving
taking
different
chances.
masters than just
Right.
slavish adherence to that.
Yeah.
But, then you can also go too far that direction when there's nothing I can hand
Yeah.
people that looks like what they recognize. That can be its own problem.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, it's it's a whole thing. Like, I mean, there's ins and outs of both sides, and it just the only thing that like is really frustrating for me as somebody who's been a Marvel fan for a really long time, and Marvel's kind of like finally like blooming, and they're like doing well for themselves, and like there's all this cool stuff, but like I saw these like little cute keychains, but there wasn't one X-Men character. And it's like you go and you see all these cool shirts and there's no X-Men characters. And you go look at the cups and there's no X-Men
cups. I went to
cups.
Target the other day and they have the Secret Wars cover, the original iconic one, and all the X-Men characters are missing from it.
no.
They've taken...
Like they're taking them out.
They're
Like
taking
they're
out some of the
taking them
marketing.
out. Like
No.
so I mean if you not only look at the comics but you look at what's happening with merchandising, I mean it's like it's very obvious like it's kind of like a poopy situation. But whatever. Let's talk about some comics that are good.
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
really good stuff.
All right.
That's what I was about to say.
All right.
So let's pick some comic, at least of those top 5 that you guys picked, and let's go into some details.
Let's talk to Doctor Strange. It's the best.
Doctor Strange is the best. We all
It's
agree.
the best situation.
Jason
Doctor
Aaron.
Strange. Jason Aaron, for those, he's his name on it. Buy this. Kind of guy.
Yeah. He's like Marvel's
He has
like
created that
number
kind of
one
culture for
writer right now, in my
And
opinion.
he's doing image awesome
Yeah.
stuff at the same time. He can do both. It's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah, and he's from Alabama.
Okay, so what is so
Represent.
good about this book, guys?
Okay, so Doctor Strange hasn't had his own book in like over a decade or something. Like he's maybe had a mini series here and there, but like nothing that's a continuous book. And so this is the first time we've seen him in a long time on his own adventures.
That's
He's
so
been in
hot.
team
Look
books
at
and
that
stuff
art.
like that. But this is really fun because I've never actually read like a Doctor Strange like comic. I've just seen him in other
Yeah,
books.
I'm mostly
and
Norman
things
group
like that.
settings and miniseries.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
always been like a utility player on the peripheral.
And this is so much fun, and Jason Aaron's doing so much with the magic aspect of it, and he's doing fun, unexpected things. I don't know, this is the
I
best.
happen to dearly love this artist, so this is this was I was automatically gonna buy it for the writer, and I was automatically gonna buy it for the artist, and I was interested in Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
So it's living up to all of my very high expectations.
Although it's really, you can't really read this on Comixology, guys. So like, don't just
It's impossible.
like buy
Don't
a
even
trade
try
when
it.
it comes out, or get the monthly issues. You'll because it's almost unreadable on Comixology.
This comic actually forces you to go to a brick and mortar and buy, which
Look
I
at his
like.
colors. Look how great they are.
But I love that. Okay, so this is the whole thing, and this is something that I feel is very relevant to like what's going on right now in society. Is okay, so you have Doctor Strange. He's the sorcerer supreme of the Earth. You know, he is the main magic dude who is in charge of all the mystical threats and all this interdimensional nonsense. And some people have made some comments like he hasn't been paying the toll for like using his magic. Because like magic, you can't just use it and there's nothing like, oh, it's fine. Like it takes a toll on whoever uses it.
Right.
You know, and so there is this, I guess, extra dimensional force called the Empirical, which I love. The Empirical, like it's so good. And they're like an anti-magic science cult, zealot situation. And their job is to go through all the dimensions and all the worlds and take all the magic and kill all the magic, kill all the Sorcerer Supremes. And so they're coming for Earth. So now it's up to Doctor Strange and the rest of the magical community to battle this threat.
Right.
So I'm thrilled. It's just exactly what's going on in society right now. Like everyone's just like, well, I don't get fantasy because it's not real, and you're just like, what? Like it's just fun. It's magic. It's fine. Like it's
See,
just
but
imagination.
But
like,
here's the fun part. I think like it should be really just a credit to Aaron, because you can tell there's so much research that he went into this that it's almost he's handling it from a perspective where he really respects magic.
yes.
And I like the fact that it's checks and balances, which has also created a great dynamic for explaining who Doctor Strange is, because he's constantly living in pain and torture and eats weird foods because nothing agrees with him, because sorcery has actually really affected like his biology and physiology.
Yeah,
I love that. But I also like the fact that it just he's laying out. Okay, we talk about the rules in a comic book. Aaron has definitely laid out the rules of this comic, and he's following his own rules.
Yeah.
Which I think is just so imaginative, and the amount of effort that you have to actually do to pull that off.
Yeah.
Really amazing.
I read
That's why I'm kind of in love with this comic.
a Mike Allred, Doctor Strange, and Dead Girl team up miniseries.
I
Wait,
read
what?
this.
Like I read one of these like a long time ago. Like it was just some weird little thing, and like it was so funny because like in it, like he's like has like mystical hemorrhoids that he can't get rid of, and it's like this running joke throughout the whole thing. And like it's funny because like in this it doesn't do that, but it does like he's got to eat this gross stuff like because like his like his shit's all fucked up from doing this. Like he has like mystical ulcers that are like really awful, and like I think that's great.
When it
like,
sounds weird, like they actually explain in the comic that for as much as you punch, like magic will punch back.
Yeah.
So when he casts spells, depending upon like how big or strong or how small and minor, there's going to be a repercussion to them.
Yeah.
And it ends up being physical, which is really strange.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's people think that's strange, but it's not strange at all. Like, I think that like a lot of illnesses are metaphysical. Like, at least for me, in my experience, for the illnesses that I've dealt with in my life, generally, if I figure out what the psychological problem is behind it and solve that, then the physical symptoms tend to go away. Like, it's a whole weird thing, man. I used to get like eczema really bad, so like stressed out and stuff, and then like I don't know, it was a whole thing. It's a whole magical journey. So I manifest shit physically, so I know all about that. Like, it's crazy.
It makes for a really satisfying like presentation of these ideas, especially when you can physicalize the threats and you can physicalize the crazy abstract ideas that he's dealing with.
Yeah.
In this really wonderful way. And again, like I just love the heck out of this artist, but he crams things into every corner and he loves to draw monsters and weird landscapes, and it's incredibly well suited for what we're getting here for my money.
Yeah, I really like that we got to see his house too. We got to like hang out in his house and like see what that's like, and like that was a lot of fun. Because that's something that I had never been able to do before. If I did see in a comic, it wasn't crazy and it wasn't like, come look at my house, like here's my weird refrigerator, like.
Yep.
So yeah.
Which I also,
Don't touch the
the
refrigerator.
fact that they put him in a very hip part of New York, that he kind of just belongs there because everyone else is. It's like, you know, where's Doctor Strange's house?
Hasn't he always lived
yeah,
in
I thought he's always
Yeah.
there.
And I love that that's part of he's never been like I love the history of Doctor Strange comics where they've mostly been written by super square people and they've been read by super out of the box crazy people.
Yeah.
Like because
that's
they always
cool.
said that was the big thing. Like they would meet Steve Ditko and expect him to be like a hippie guru,
Yeah.
and he would be this total like flat top. Like
Yeah.
a totally different kind of weirdo. Like
Yeah.
he was totally a weirdo, but not what anybody expected him to be. But Doctor Strange went out and inspired like all these crazy ideas that Ditko put into the comic. Went out and inspired like the whole crazy counterculture '60s surrealist, trippy, great stuff. And so we're back to that, and it's great.
Yeah, it's like it's fantastic. It's fantastic, and you know, I think that people need to embrace fantasy and imagination and things like that. Like I've been rereading Promethea a little bit, Alan Moore's
nice.
Promethea, and so like that's like they're in a world where they have science heroes, not superheroes. You know, and science is the thing, and nobody cares about mythology or stories or those sorts of things. And Promethea comes back to free everyone from the ignorance of reality, and it's wonderful. And I see that in this book in Doctor Strange, and I'm really excited for it because it's a message that I feel like is very relevant. Yeah, we need more romance and more magic, and people need to just believe in weird shit because it's fun. Like, it's fine, you know. You just got YOLO, one life.
All right, guys, that was very good. All right, we're going to take a brief commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about Vision number 1. That was really good, guys, on Doctor Strange. That was great.
My ears are sweaty.
Very well said.
TMI.
Very well said.
Yeah.
Feeling okay?
Yeah, just tired.
Do a little bit of Xanax before the shoot here?
No, I wish.
Okay.
It's been one of those days. You're just like, yeah. My energy levels are very unreliable. They're not like, you know.
I feel like I'm extra motor mouthy, so please throw things in my head.
No, go for it. I need you guys to talk. 'Cause I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm like half in my body. Like half here, half here.
Okay, and we're back with the Hot Comics Plopcast, and we're about to talk about Vision.
Vision. Okay, well, we kind of touched on it earlier, but
Yeah, let's go into some more details, because that one's a lot of fun.
yeah. So we talked about how it's about the Vision, and he's created a fake Vision family for himself.
It's a really sane thing to do. Just
Yeah,
throwing
there's
that out
Vin
there.
and Viv are the
Thank you,
two
Amy.
kids. He's got his wife, Virginia, I think, or something like
Yeah,
that.
the Virginia Vin and Viv Vision. That's really hard to do.
And then they live in Virginia or something. I don't know. There's a lot of V's going on.
Yeah.
But there's a guy, I don't know, like there's just all this weird stuff. Like in the first issue, you see his neighbors go over and they're like, oh, do you give these people brownies or cookies? Or like, what? You know, like, And then it's like there's a caption like, oh, like one of the visions will kill like these characters like in a few months or something. And you're like, what? Like, when is that gonna come back into play? Like, these guys are gonna fucking die? Like, I mean, they were kind of like dicks a little bit, but it's like, I don't know.
What I liked about that first issue is that they were like, they drew those neighbors in a really interesting amount of detail for characters who you meet for one issue and are immediately told they're going to die. Like, it's clear that the book's not about them, but that was the thing that really impressed me with this writer, where he was sort of like, I want to see how quickly I can draw a complete portrait of these individuals in sort of their flaws and their good points.
Yeah.
So you see things to like about them and you see things to criticize about them in their, like, course of just visiting their neighbors.
Yeah, and the wife especially is like really interesting because like they get.
What is her deal?
Like, what is her deal? Like, what's her deal? Like,
you know, he's supposed to have wiped emotions, but she keeps talking about crying because of memories, and it's like, well,
like,
clearly she doesn't have the same deal.
Like, yeah, like, what did you do,
It's
Vision?
strange how
like,
this comic really does do like an assassination as far as exploring just how humans act. Mm-hmm. And the way it kind of goes about describing it is very macabre.
Yeah.
And so you have like this picture perfect family, but as they kind of like start to explore like these different like constructs, like, well, this is what it is to be human, and why do we even send the kids to school? Well, they need these human experiences. It's like, well, this is a robot you can download.
Yeah.
Like, it's strange how it is exploring these themes, and it's doing it in a very kind of like icky way.
Yeah.
But it's good. You like it. You kind of like it.
Well, I like the Reaper guy comes and some shit goes down in the kitchen, and like the daughter gets like a giant spike through her, and then she's like cut in half, and then she keeps just saying like mother over and over again. Like she's like meh, meh. And then like there's some Frankenstein shit going on where like he takes his daughter's half body to like Tony Stark, and then like they only have juice like for this one hit, and like he's gonna like try to connect. It's like he's like bringing his daughter back to life,
Right.
and then Stark's just like, this is really weird, like, you know, like it's
Life that he created in the first place.
Yes.
But after wiping, so the vision for like. He is a longtime Avenger. He was created by Ultron to destroy the Avengers, and then he was like, maybe I don't want to. Maybe I want to be a hero. Maybe I want to be a human.
Maybe I want to be an Avenger, Dad.
And so that was, yeah, exactly.
The complete rebellious teenager.
The perfect, like son material.
Yeah.
Quit the football team.
So there's always been really interesting, like, human, not human stories with the Vision, because he's synthezoid. He's not quite robot. He's not quite human. He was patterned after the brain waves of an Avenger named Wonder Man.
Yeah.
And that becomes a thing in issue 2.
Which is also why the Grim Reaper's in this series.
Yeah.
Family relations.
And it's weird because it's a little bit hard to unify that guy who's been running around superheroing with the Avengers for so long with this story. But at the same time, this is what you always do with the Vision. You examine what it means to be human.
Yeah.
And so that, like, I can't wait to see where it's going. It's weird. It's a departure for sure, but it's really interesting.
Well, I love that in the 3rd issue they do a thing where they have like the always flowering bloom from Wungador or some whatever the fuck shit, and like. And she's like, the wife's looking at it, and it's like she knew that he got this from somebody for their, like, when him and Wanda got together, and like how she like feels weird about that, and that how like, and then like there's all this like I don't even want to get into this little spoiler stuff, but I don't know, it's really great. It's really, I don't know where the hell it's going. I'm really excited for it. It has a really weird, creepy tone. I absolutely love the Visions. It's, besides Doctor Strange, I would say it's my favorite all new, all different title.
That's awesome.
Very
Out of
good.
nowhere, by the way.
Yeah,
Out of
it's
nowhere.
Also been a huge surprise to people.
All
Yeah,
right. Anyone else on Vision, or can we move on to Thor?
Move on to Thor.
All right, let's pull it in.
All right, here's some Thor business. This
right.
is Jane Foster Thor, everyone.
I love this book. You may have noticed a theme
Nice
where I'm a
move.
huge sucker for the fantastic art, but Russell Doderman does the glorious prettiness. So I'm hugely into it for that reason.
Okay. Amy, can you catch us up on what has happened with the new female Thor since she popped on the scene in the last Marvel Now series?
This is, again, kind of one of those they didn't wreck a thing that was already working kind of situations.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jason Aaron has been writing Thor books now for like 3-4 years. I don't know exactly how long. And he wrote what we all talked about,
Yes, he
how
did it,
much
yeah.
we loved. We did a whole thing on Thor God of Thunder and how much we loved it.
Yeah.
And sometime after that, they gave Thor a new number 1 because the guy that we're used to, Odin's son, had become unworthy for reasons that remain mysterious, but
Yes.
presumably they'll get to eventually.
Hopefully.
Someday.
And in the
killing me.
meantime, there was a big mystery last year because a woman suddenly was running around with the hammer of Thor, wielding the power of Thor, having somehow been deemed worthy, and it was like, well, who is it? And a lot of people had guesses, and a lot of people were right, and it turned out to be Jane Foster, but like really satisfyingly, and I really enjoyed watching that story play out. But one of the reasons people thought it wasn't Jane is that Jane has cancer.
Yeah.
So that's where we are. We are with Jane, and I will hand it off. That's who is the sometimes mighty Thor.
Yeah.
And it's super devastating, and it's super good. And one panel of Volstagg outside of a waiting room will learn my love for like 2 years.
Yeah.
So that's how they're getting along with this book. But yeah, sorry, I'm talking.
No, please. I mean, basically, when we found out that Jane Foster is dying of cancer, dying. Let's just make that perfectly clear right now. The way the first issue opens up is exactly what it's going through. And I don't know if anyone's ever actually had to deal with cancer in their lives or actually seen it firsthand. It is frighteningly perfect in detail and very depressing. Having Jane explain what she's going through as far as what chemotherapy does, what it does to your mindset, and
why is she going through though? I mean, if she's like, I'm gonna die anyways. Like, I feel like if I had cancer and like I was gonna die anyways, then like fuck feeling sick off of chemo. Like, just whatever.
I mean,
I guess like she was a nurse, and I think she's just used to that fight as long as you can fight kind of mentality.
Yeah, I guess.
Plus, she's trying to get some shit done as Thor. And if anything she can do to extend her time, I think she's calling a win right now.
And here's the kicker.
Except for giving up being Thor, which would probably be helping more.
Yeah, but she's also saying that when she is Thor, she doesn't have the cancer. So like, there's
but then it's worse when she gets back.
Because whenever she turns back into Thor, it actually clears out all the medication that she's going through. It almost like resets her physiology. And it's almost not worth it. She's putting herself through the torture of chemo, only for it to be completely negated whenever she makes the transformation back to Thor.
Again, just don't do it then. I don't know. But whatever. But yeah. Keep going, guys. So there's some Malekith situations going on, some Loki situations going on.
The villains are the best reason why to read this comic right now. The way Loki is being written by Aaron is perfect. The team up that we have with Malekith, and I'm going to forget the big business guy. It's not Roxanne, is it? It's
the Minotaur?
Yeah. And
what the hell's his name?
I just lost his name.
Dario Agger?
Something like that. Anyways, he's a Minotaur who's also like Norman Osborn, rich and evil. So it's really great to watch Malekith as a magician and evil elf, and these guys come together and actually enter into a business agreement.
Yeah.
It's like watching like two of your most evil corporations come together.
Yeah.
But with a whole lot of magic. It's the dialogue between the two of them has been perfect.
I wonder if Loki's going to be actually like is he actually going bad again, or is this some sort of double, triple cross?
We do know
cross?
that
Does
Loki
he even know?
now crosses paths with his father.
Yeah.
And is essentially we're trying to figure out whether Loki wants to prove himself to his dad, or the fact that he actually wants to outdo his dad at everything. And I feel like Loki is the type of guy who's going to be like, fuck you, Dad.
Yeah.
I feel like Loki's the kind of guy who's going to wait to see how it comes out and then claim that he was doing whatever the winning side thinks was the right move.
Yeah.
I think that's what Loki's going to do, but I don't know.
Yeah. I've read it. I'm like, I'm not like totally invested in the Mighty Thor. I mean, it's fine. I don't know.
I'm going to say it's a little more than fine. I'm going to say it's better than fine.
It is.
I know
It
people it's working for. It just has my number.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, there's things that like I don't know. Like there's things that I'm like, yeah.
And we're still also getting
cool.
regular Thor own son. We're also getting a really great story arc from him too. We haven't seen it yet in this new series.
But man, they handled it really well in the one that came before this.
You know, whatever though, they better figure out something really fucking cool that like whatever his face whispered in his ear that took his mojo. Nick Fury. They were like having a battle on the blue side of the moon or something. Nick Fury whispered something to Thor that made him lose his mojo to where he could no longer like hold the hammer. Nobody knows what that is. So like,
That's
they held out
last fall's original sin story.
Like they've held out so long with that, and it's like, what? It better be so good.
And
there's no way you're gonna make it good enough.
They probably would have pulled the trigger on that before if they hadn't stopped the series in May and picked it back up with an 8-month later gap. And like, I trust Jason Aaron, so I think he'll work it in when it feels appropriate. But
don't forget, like Jason Aaron also wrote that special, the original Sin. So I know if it's tabled and it's shelved, we're gonna get to it because if you've been following Jason Aaron and Thor and all that good stuff, you're going to get your payoff.
Yeah, because he had planted Jane like 2 years before any of this happened. He'd given
How
her
great was the
I'm
red
making
herring
those
of that,
amounts of
too?
time out. Those might be the wrong amounts of time, but some amount of
So
time.
there's amount of time in
Any
there.
statistic you give out, 87% of the time people are going to believe it.
So it's a thing. It's a thing. But yeah, so what about the Spider-Verse? What's going on, Kirk?
Let's talk about, okay, you're going to have to help me with Silk. I'm not reading Silk, but I am reading all the Spider-Man. I'm still waiting for Miles Morales #1 to come out, but we're still seeing him in...
And they should not have announced that first when it was going to come out 4 months late. That
was a giant bummer.
The whole every single announcement over the past year has been
Take it with a
fucked
grain
up,
of salt right now. Yeah.
Yeah, they're just.
But I'm excited it's happening. I'm happy he's in the Marvel Universe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I like that it's just Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. I'm glad they're not messing around with that. Like, he actually he's earned
I don't know.
to be...
I assume that's not going to last. I'm not
You don't
sure.
think so?
Well, just partly from a retail perspective, where I'm going to have to explain to people who he is, and they're going to realize at some point that you can't have the Amazing Spider-Man and Spider-Man running around. Like, one of them is going to need a different name.
Yeah.
I don't know. They did it with Batman. Bruce and Dick were in the cowl at the same time for a while. Those were some great stories.
When did that happen?
Batman Incorporated.
Was it right after Batman came back?
Yeah, but that was
Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne became Batman International.
Yeah.
With his team. Meanwhile, Dick stayed in Gotham City as Batman.
I didn't realize Bruce was out there doing that. I was only reading the Dick Grayson stuff.
Because
okay,
Grant Morrison
fair enough.
Because Grant Morrison was like, let's franchise Batman. I thought that was really cool. But so we still have Spider-Gwen, and she's in her own corner pocket.
Yep.
Different universe.
Spider-Woman, which I forgot to mention, is batshit crazy and super fun.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she's pregnant. Nobody knows who the baby daddy is. She doesn't even know.
If you ask, you will drink in the face.
Yeah.
That was my favorite moment from that first issue. They kind of got me with that one. It was pretty rad. Do not walk up to a pregnant woman and ask her who the father is. That's a bad idea, Tony Stark. That's a dumb thing to do, even if Carol did put you up to it, because she's a stinker.
And I love just the stupid characters in Spider-Woman. They're dumb characters, and they work so well. And it's Ben Ulrich. Anytime you put Ben Ulrich in a Spider title, I'm gonna be okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I interrupted you. Keep going.
Oh no, it's okay. Let's talk Spiders.
Yeah.
Then we have Gwen Stacy, and she's a Spider-Woman in her own universe. The art is beautiful.
Same writer and artist that have been working on her since her surprise breakout, first appearance last fall.
Yeah.
Jason
and once
Latour,
again,
writing.
Ain't broke, didn't fix it. I'm very happy that they made that decision.
And I'm having a lot of fun watching him taking old characters and reinventing them and what would have happened in different timelines or different life. The Punisher is still a cop, but he's has a history of excessive violence. Ben Grimm shows up. What they did with Black Cat was totally fucking cool in the last series. I'm in love with it. I mean, I totally get why people freaked out over Gwen Stacy having this version of her. Absolutely in love with it. And like you said, it just kind of keeps going. You can definitely be a new reader and hop on this new series, but definitely go pick up those other volumes.
Yeah, you can get the first stuff in trade now. There's one volume that collects her first appearance and the 5 issues of her series. This was a problem this year with because I'm trying not to be super positive on everything all the time. There have been issues, and one of them is that it's really confusing for new readers when you give her own series and it lasts 5 issues and then it goes away for a couple months and then there's a new #1 and they're like, what's happening?
Yeah.
I actually talked to a couple other retailers and they said a lot of people skipped the new #1 because they thought it was a reprint.
Yeah, because they have also needed to reprint the old stuff so many times, and there's a Spider-Girl and Spider-Gwen 0 that came out that's reprinting the first appearance. I think it's all it is worth it to bear with that stuff right now, and I'm glad, but it's not making it easier. Exactly.
Yeah, and that's the whole point of this too, and that's what's so bizarre is okay, we're gonna have new #1s, but if you have new #1s every 6 months, then you're gonna confuse the new people that you're gonna bring in, and then it feels to me like it's more just about selling issues and not about actually trying to keep new readers or it's just.
I mean, there were a lot of people I had to explain no, Miss Marvel is still going. Go buy that new #1.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I definitely had to explain that series is not finished.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering when are comics just going to break down and finally just every single arc of 6 issues starts over at #1?
I think
why don't they just go ahead and do that?
We're almost there.
Just that's what the trades are. Essentially.
I like reading X-Men #245.
Yeah.
From the 80s with Silvestri or something,
The weird thing is we're only ever going to get that from indies now. Walking Dead hit 150 this week, and that is never going to happen again at Marvel. Yeah. Except when they're cheating and counting, doing the... Occasionally they'll do the math and they'll be Uncanny 600.
Uncanny 600,
was the issue after Uncanny, 36?
Yeah,
It's like 34, 35, 36.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's really
how math
confusing
works.
for. I mean, I'll get it. I can figure it out, but it's just really confusing for a lot of people. Like, this whole thing is like, we're gonna make it easier, and it's not.
Then again, it is kind of a lose-lose because I've watched people, if you hand them a 37 or something, they're like, I can't read 37. That doesn't make any sense. And you're like, no, it's designed. You're supposed to be able to. And they're like, nah, do you got anything new?
Yeah.
Ooh.
So I get it.
Yeah.
It really happens, and people really like the welcomingness of a big number one.
It's a catch-22.
Yeah, I don't know
this
how
is
you fix it.
This is a
Yeah.
good conversation. Hold on, we're going to table Spider. No, I'm curious about this. I want to table Spider-Man for a second. Okay, so from your point of view, when they do this, and like, here's all the new number ones, and all new and all different, and you don't read comics, but you like our movies, so
Yeah.
please come buy comics. Like, start reading. Are you seeing that?
Yeah,
Are you
we-
seeing new readers?
We see it all the time. Some of them
Okay.
stay, some of them don't. Like, it's weird. There's a big crop of readers right now who are reading a whole bunch of Image stuff, and they're only in our store because they walked in the door for the DC New 52.
That's fucking awesome. though.
Yeah.
It ended up for some of them it worked really well. For some of them it got them into the habit again, and then kind of ended up disappointing them. And then they asked us what else was out there, and they started reading
Yeah.
Marvel and Image. And that's an oversimplification because
Right.
obviously for some people it worked, and everyone's having different experiences with it. But like we have a whole crop of readers who are regular fans now. They just moved on to the stuff that was serving them, but like they got in the door because they heard there were jumping on points for these characters they've heard of, and like it sucks because it's like you have to do these cheap stunt things because we're a tiny niche industry and nobody knows we exist and they have no idea how to get started. But the stunts can end up hurting you more than they help because we also lost a bunch of readers when the New 52 happened because there were people whose 40-year habits, they were like, well, I guess this is the time to stop.
Yeah.
And we've been through all this before, but like every jumping on point is also a jumping off point.
Yeah, and that was me for last year with Secret Wars. That was my jumping off point where I was just like, you know what? I'm done for this year,
Need a
I guess.
break.
I mean, I went in and I did like extensive research into like, the X-Men universe of the past. So that's kind of what I did instead. It's like just go back to something I know that, I want to know more about.
Yeah.
But yeah, it definitely like discouraged me from buying for like I'm just now getting back into it like and I'm like hesitant about a lot of stuff. I think with Marvel, like I'm just gonna end up doing a couple books and like not nearly reading as much as I used to until things kind of level out a little bit.
Well, you always go through a cycle where you get really heavy into movies.
Yeah.
And then you get burned out on that, and then you get into comics again, you're excited. And then
Yeah.
you get burned out on that.
Yeah, I'm burned out on the comics a little bit right now.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I've been doing a lot more movies lately.
Okay.
But that happens. That's a cycle a lot of people go through.
Well, it's just like, the whole X-Men thing, it's just like a kick in the dick, It's just like sucks. And it's
The
just like,
closer
you know
to
what,
your
never
heart,
mind.
the more it hurts.
Yeah, you're just like, fuck you guys. Like, I'm out. Like, you're right.
I think that's perfectly valid.
Well, is there anything more to say about the Spider-Man universe and Spider Books?
Dan Slott's run's really fun. It's basically take a 1970s action film and throw like a modern $200 million budget behind it. I'm having fun like watching that.
Awesome. We're having some mixed reviews on this one. I haven't been reading the main Spider-Man book. A lot
Okay.
of people missed their
Is this the one where he's a CEO?
But
Okay.
Yeah, Kirk, give everyone the spiel.
Basically, like, we're still kind of continuing the story that one Stock Ock relinquished being Spider-Man and gave it back to Peter. That was a whole other thing because we are building off of so much the last few years. Peter is essentially trying to be a responsible big business CEO. He has gone like the way of Tony Stark. It does have elements of Batman Incorporated where he is trying to incorporate Spider-Man, and he's got the gadgets and he's got the toys, and like I said, he's trying to be a responsible big business. Mm-hmm. And it's still it's fun. It's fun. You're not going to get the psychological, suspenseful Spider-Man stories that we're kind of been used to. But like I said, there's other places to find that in the Spider Universe and other titles.
So what's
But we're finally watching Peter Parker his life not suck.
So what's Spider-Man then? If there's Amazing Spider-Man and there's also Spider-Man.
that one's going to be Miles.
That's gonna be Miles.
Miles
Okay. Well,
Morales.
wait.
Good question.
Who's the one? Okay, so Nick Bradshaw is doing a Spider-Man
That
comic.
is Spidey.
Okay. Well, what the fuck is that?
High school adventures.
Flashback stories.
Okay. All right.
They're actually getting one. I'm super biased because the writer is a friend of ours at the shop and he
Yeah.
came and signed the number one, and I think it's super charming.
Yeah.
But it's just all like stories of him in high school. They're supposed to be in continuity, but they're just like the Peter Parker you remember having fights with bad guys. Every issue's a one and done,
Okay.
which is a really interesting approach because not many people do that these days.
Yeah.
It's like some people only want a book if it has ongoing continuity, but other people are frustrated by the fact that you so the Spidey, and it's really written EY. is that book, and it's appropriate for all ages. It's got like a teen rating because there's action and stuff, but it's fine.
But you still, if you definitely want like to have the Peter Parker who's down on his luck and still trying to figure out how to balance being a superhero.
High school Peter,
yeah, it's high school Peter. You're still going to find that in that title.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very
So
good.
when is Miles Morales one coming out?
February.
Okay, February. All right. So then you were saying, okay, so there's some Spider-Woman books. We talked about Spider-Gwen, talked a little bit about Spider-Woman. There's another one called Silk.
Yes.
Take
Talk
it away.
about Silk, because I have
Same
not.
bias because it's written by the guy who's writing Spidey.
Yeah.
Does nobody have Silk here today?
I didn't bring it. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, talk about it anyway.
She is another one that got caught in she got like 7 issues into her book
they
before she
started
got
over.
Secret Wars.
Yeah.
But he's another one who he did a good job. Like that 7, they gave her a complete arc within the 7, so it's really like you can get that in trade to sort of be introduced to the character of Cindy Moon. And since I wasn't reading the main Spider-Man book, I met her in this book, but she was introduced in the regular Amazing Spider-Man book.
Correct, and she was bit by the same spider that bit Peter.
Normally sounds like not a great idea, but they did some really interesting stuff with her because there was a villain who had a whole larger scheme, but it involved convincing herself to lock herself in a bunker for like 10 years.
They were going back, dude. That was Ezekiel, and it was back when Straczynski was exploring the idea of the spider totem and why all his enemies were somehow like an animal totem.
Right.
And it was connected to the Anansi spider god. Totally gnarly concept. It was really good. I really miss Straczynski writing comics. But yeah, it actually tied into that. So they took ideas and almost like 10 years later were like, hey, let's take that character and base off of that mythology. And that's what Cindy is.
So she's got her own version of spider powers with kind of a twist on them. And her main thing has been that she emerged from this bunker and got involved in the big Spider-Verse plotline. And her big thing is like she cannot find any sign of her family. From 10 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they moved out of their apartment and they paid cash for the storage unit and everything is closed out and she can't figure out what happened to them.
Yeah.
So that's been kind of an interesting, like, she's trying to adapt to grown-up life. She's got, like, a part-time gig under J. Jonah Jameson. So it's interesting,
Nice.
like, but she doesn't feel like a Spider-Man ripoff. She feels like her own character who's dealing with a totally different thing and kind of trying to put the pieces back together and build a life for herself with, like, and it's just, again, been really fun. Like, I don't know... there is the question of, like, why do we need any particular character or any particular book? But in this case, I'm just really enjoying it. The art is fantastic on that book.
Yeah.
The sense of humor is great. And I'm just charmed by her as a character, so.
Very good.
Go read Silk.
Oh, and she's an Asian American female lead character with her own book. And that just doesn't happen a lot, and it makes me excited.
Yeah.
I'm actually really happy because, like I said, I haven't really read it yet, but the people I've talked to, I'm really happy to see the audience who's finding it. Like, the diversity of the audience that's reading it.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for that.
Yeah.
We have, like, so many of these new and off-the-wall books are finding new readers and new audiences, and it makes me so excited.
Like especially the new Ultimates. The new Ultimates title is predominantly.
We're such chills, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no,
No.
But it's predominantly African American team. It's fucking awesome. It's Blue Marvel. It's
Which book is this?
I don't have it right now. The
Oh,
Ultimates,
okay.
3 issues.
It's Kenneth Rockefort. Google the pictures. The art is beautiful.
Yeah, and it's Al Ewing, who is a longtime comic book writer, and he's been awesome. And the first art totally deals with Galactus, and there's a huge shift in who Galactus is now in the Marvel Universe, and it's fucking awesome. You need to read it. And Captain Marvel's on the team, and Miss America Chavez is on the team. And it's just
Never enough American Chavez.
Yeah.
yeah, it's that title is awesome. And if you
I want a her and Quentin book. She would have none of his sass. It would be great.
No, that would be. I just want to know where the fuck Quentin is at all. Like, I'm just afraid he's just dead. Like, I'm afraid that they just killed him. Like, because he hasn't shown up anywhere, and it's kind of like.
they
the
won't
fuck,
keep
guys?
Quentin down too long. You know that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's
yeah.
keep talking
Quint
about
won't
some of the
allow-
books that we have here
Yeah,
today.
yeah.
Quentin won't allow it. What else?
How
do we
about
have?
Iron Man, Kirk? You were excited
Sorry.
about that. Let's hear about that one.
Thank you for keeping us on track. We're just going to talk about comics forever. Hi.
Thanks.
Iron Man #1, Brian Michael Bendis, and I'm going to forget the artist's name. I'm sorry. Marquez and Ponser.
So what's new in Iron Man?
Okay, so this is definitely more of the vibe of the Robert Downey Jr. incarnation of Iron Man from the movies.
Yeah.
He's definitely writing him with that kind of level of sass, and it works because Bendis is definitely known for his spot-on dialogue. I really do appreciate that. 2, the art's really, really great. And by great, I mean it's just clean, and I love any artist who's going to bring great attention to detail and backgrounds. Believe it or not, for me, that's something I really watch. And that's something I'm finding in this. And it's still Tony Stark being fucking Tony Stark. But it does fall in line with the movies. So the Friday AI that he used in Age of Ultron is now the new AI he's using in the new suit. We haven't seen Pepper yet. They did introduce Mary Jane Watson from the Spider-Man titles recently, and it's really cool how they did that.
His redhead problem is out of control.
Oh, I know.
So, yeah, because I saw a cover with Mary Jane on it, and I was like, wait, are they boning now? Oh,
not
weird.
yet, but eventually. Come on.
No, they're totally going to bone. She's a model. He's a playboy. Like, that's what they do.
This. But he actually has like a love interest in this who is also a scientist, and we kind of like the fact that they match wits, and I also really like the fact that it was a strong female character, that when they were writing the dialogue of them on their date, and obviously Tony Stark's going to do very Tony Stark things to impress her with the fact being Tony Stark.
I haven't read this yet. This is awesome.
And it's
the Thor thing was funny.
Oh, yeah. At one point, she was like, you're the type of guy that would have Thor just come by for a second just to make you look cooler. He's like, of course not. And the next panel is him looking over at Thor going like,
get out of here. And she's like, okay, flies off screen.
And the cool part is that she's such a cool character and kind of like his equal that he legitimately is starting to stutter and find things to talk about with her and making it an awkward first date.
I was surprised by how human he was. Like, I finally felt that he was kind of more relatable, because I've never really, in the comic books, I've never really connected with Tony Stark. Right. I mean, I connect with him on screen, but I don't really, he's never ever been an A-lister in the comic books. Let's just be real about it. And like, they keep trying because he's an A-lister in the movies, but just something about him doesn't quite translate. I don't know.
I get that.
Because he's kind of an asshole. And
that's often the case. I liked Fraction's take on him, because I liked the way he examined his less desirable traits, but it didn't keep me once he was gone, and I can see that.
Right.
Yeah.
And he was doing some really shitty stuff too. And then, but this, Bendis writing it, I feel like this is a more accessible Iron Man to people. And I think, I don't know if I'm going to keep picking it up, but I would like to hear from you guys how it goes.
Okay, so it was really fun because we definitely have to deal with the fact Madame Mask shows up again. Bendis has always used Madame Mask as a really
Madame
great
Mask is pimping.
Yeah, she's awesome. She's totally cool. Which, by the way, they totally were a thing back in the day. It's weird.
That's hot.
But
of course,
come on.
Another thing with
Dr. Doom has a huge part in the story arc, which is, it was kind of a bummer because it also spoiled some of the Secret Wars before that last title came out.
I know.
And that was really a
Jesus.
Damn it.
But we were talking about, we were both pretty satisfied with the way everything played out.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it would have been nice to read it first.
It's like Marvel, with Secret Wars, they had this great plan. It was this Evel Knievel jump over 20 buses, and then just something happens in the middle of that jump, and it was just and then just fire and blood just everywhere.
The thing is going to read well in trade. The story's going to read really well in trade.
Yeah.
And some of these tie-ins were super fun. I think over time you'll find that people are like, but that one was cool. And that
okay, Secret Wars. I'll say one nice thing. About Secret Wars: the E for Extinction X-Men spinoff, 4-issue miniseries.
I'm going to say there were some pretty cool miniseries in there.
Yeah, Quentin Quire was being fucking awesome in there, and that's mainly why I loved it, because it was he's fucking doing it. Somebody's actually writing him who knows what the fuck they're doing.
He'll be back. They're not letting these characters go. Kitty Pryde's in the freaking Guardians of the Galaxy, because Bendis is what? I want to write Kitty. You can't stop me. I'm Brian Michael Bendis.
Well, I also like the fact that an entire title is now turned into Jews in space.
Well,
it's got Ben Grimm on it. It's got Kitty Pryde on it.
The Mel Brooks and me.
Where did
Avios
go?
I like the fact they've always kind of hinted at that with Flash Thompson, and because they've got now alien Venom in space.
We also forgot to bring this one, but Guardians of the Galaxy is also Bendis right now, and it's weird. I like it better than I've liked it since he took over.
It's strange, isn't it?
I've enjoyed that run, but not as much as I like it right now.
Okay, I have a little theory here, guys. I'm sorry, I'm going to do this for a second. No, it's a good theory. When we started to watch Bendis kind of wind down on X-Men, do you feel like the titles got the stories got a little weaker towards the end?
I don't want to admit it, but
okay, so here's what I think happened. He was really excited about X-Men, and Bendis writes best when he's excited about a story. I'm seeing that in Iron Man, and I'm seeing that in Guardians of the Galaxy right now. His excitement about writing these characters is coming through. And this is the Bendis I miss. I love it. I really do have a theory that at some point with X-Men, they were like, we're pulling it, dude. You're off the title. We're going to do some stuff. And I think...
But you still need to write it for 6 months. But everything you're doing is going to be undone and no one's going to give a shit about it.
I genuinely feel like you just see him going
I'm still a little mad at him for making Beast super evil. But everything else about his run, I was pretty...
Yeah, well, I don't know. I kind of think the Beast is a dickhead. And everyone's dude, stop going back in time.
He earns that intervention because he's been behaving really badly. But it made me... Because I've never accepted that. I was like, no, he wouldn't. I mean, he did. He just did it. So now, yes, I guess he would. But...
I loved Eva Bell's part where she was like, you know, and all these futures that I've been to, there you have a trial, you know.
She's all for freaking rocker, and I love it.
I you know, again, more Eva Bell. Like, where the fuck is Eva Bell? Like, you know, where are all the fucking characters that I want to see? Like, I don't know.
So I really just stand behind the fact that he was like, well, you're going to take away something I love? Fucking splash pages for every issue. Like, he just stopped writing the stories.
Yeah, well,
I mean, they hold up. Like, the run holds up, but...
Okay.
Yeah.
How are the other Avengers books and other Avengers characters?
well, A-Force just came out.
Slide those
A-Force
in.
is awesome.
Well,
I'm
we'll
ashamed
see.
I haven't read my number 1 yet.
We'll
It's the
see.
raddest creative team and the
Did you like
raddest character
Did you like the
lineup.
A-Force
I did.
tie-in? You're right at home. You're right at home.
I read the first issue of the A-Force Secret Wars thing, but I just couldn't get in. I just hate all the Secret Wars stuff, so I just couldn't do it.
It was super what ify.
It was like sharks flying around, and I was just like, what the fuck?
Fighting sharks in a crazy what if.
Yeah, I was like, nah. But
I'm Jay. This is also Wilson who's doing
Hug this book.
this
G.
Marvel.
Willow Wilson. She.
yeah, like it's So who is this star character?
Okay,
I don't know her
she's
deal.
called
She's
Singularity.
She's from the summer, but like,
Yeah, she's new. She's a new girl.
But now here's this title also raises a lot of questions because like in Squadron Supreme, the entire team is aware that other realities were destroyed, and they are aware that they are from other realities on this Earth. I'm having problems with this one because Singularity shows up and she's going back and revisiting the rest of her A-Force team.
crew.
Yeah, Captain Marvel doesn't remember. Something's very wrong.
None of them remember.
But I feel like Squadron Supreme specifically, that was their deal, is like that being aware somehow of like I don't know. There's
Dazzler
something
didn't show up.
So I want to know like how much of the
a little bummed. She didn't show up
of the Marvel universe actually those characters are aware of what happened in Secret Wars. I'm still waiting for that answer.
Yeah, well,
she's gotta be here. She's in this book.
No, she's not in it. They didn't introduce her yet. Maybe I guess it's issue number 2. Maybe she's gonna get her own issue. I don't know. Probably not.
But so that's great.
I kind of bought it for Dazzler and she wasn't in there, so I was a little disappointed.
I can see that.
Yeah. It's fine. They're just gonna draw it out.
But come on, look at this rad little friendship band.
I know, and I love
friendship.
I love what they said in the thing about her. You read that for me, Amy. Would you like read here?
Dazzler, full of life, ready to laugh, to question everything.
To question everything. That's my girl. I love her so much.
She's awesome.
She's the best. She is.
Oh yeah. Okay, so this is the bonding from the summer from the A-Force event.
Are you afraid if you stop promoting Dazzler that she just doesn't go away?
Yes.
I mean,
say yes. We need more Dazzler. Say yes. This is a stupid yes.
Earth needs Dazzler.
They just need to let me write Dazzler at some point. I'm not ready yet, but I'm gonna be there one day, and I'm gonna do the best Dazzler comic there ever was or will be. It's gonna be awesome. One day. But I gotta practice my writing. I gotta practice my writing a little bit more. So I gotta work on my script writing.
Just gotta get it writing, and then I'll have the best story ever.
I wrote a short story over Christmas, so
awesome.
I've been practicing stuff. I've been doing stuff. So yeah, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I fucking hate her outfit still. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know.
I can't remember.
They don't know what to do with her.
Showed up and they actually redid her costume one more time, and it was a little bit better. It was more in line with. This.
Yeah.
I think this is what they're going to stick with.
You mean late in the Uncanny Run when they kind of got her up?
I didn't like that.
And I don't get the black top and the blonde sides. I don't get that.
I mean, to me, it's sort of like. Not to too soon this, but Dazzler to me is a Bowie thing. Like, if she just wants to change herself completely every couple months, I'll be fine with that.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't have to like everything she does. Like, I like that she's trying things. But
she is a rock star.
It's pretty hot topic-y for a grown-ass woman, to be honest, like, in my opinion.
Throw that cover a little closer.
Yeah, I don't know if she'd be wearing this. But whatever. Okay, so let's move on to the other Avengers titles. What do we got?
Okay, so talk about Mark Waid.
He's the shit.
It's true.
What I particularly like about this book is that Mark Waid he's sort of one of those, like, he's solid. And, like, a lot of people can sort of overlook or undersell him because it's like, well, of course, he's gonna reliably do good, interesting stuff. And it's like, no, but he's kind of spectacular. Like, his Daredevil run was fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm waiting so anxiously for his Black Widow to start because I think I'm probably gonna love the heck out of that book.
Yeah.
I didn't realize he's going to do Black Widow.
With Chris Samnee.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's on the poll.
I'm very excited for that book to happen. But in the meantime, what's really interesting to me is about this book is that it's a mix of the classic Avengers characters and a bunch of new kids, but by the absolute perfect guy that you would want to, like, because occasionally people can feel left out when it's all, like, the new hot characters, and they're sort of like, we're throwing away the thing that I grew up with. But it's like, Mark Waid is not throwing away the thing you grew up with. Mark Waid wrote the thing you grew up with. He knows exactly what he's doing. And so what's great is and there'll be little bits he writes Kamala Khan as an Avengers fangirl, which is very much who she is as a character. But it's great because that's Mark Waid. He's an Avengers fanboy. And so he I was, I'm always afraid with something like Kamala Khan, who's been written so brilliantly by G. Willow Wilson. You're scared to see anybody else touch her. But it's this is fine. This is great.
I was genuinely nervous when I found out she was on the lineup. I was like, who's writing the title?
And her and Nova may have a thing. I don't know. Maybe was there a Miles thing? Maybe I don't know. There was.
I don't know. Let me look for. The opening to this was lovely. That Falcon getting caught in a totally awkward photo op moment.
They could have turned into a total PR nightmare.
It was just So I'm very happy with the core Avengers book.
Also, with everything we talked about with the Vision, that's how he's writing the character in this. He's emotionless, and they kind of throughout the series kind of question it a little bit. So I'm really glad that vibe and that flavor that was really great in that miniseries is translating over to this. Because there's nothing more frustrating when someone does something with the character, but that character's showing up in other titles, and no one had the email exchange to talk about the consistency of what's going on with that character.
No, it seems like everyone's what the fuck's going on with Vision? He's really creeping me the fuck out, dude. Is he creeping you the fuck out? Because he's creeping me the fuck out, and I love that they are doing that. That he is being weird, and everyone's just kind of what's, okay, we'll figure it out later. I don't even, people don't even want to know what's wrong with him because it's going to be so fucking horrible. That
the answer might be worse than the question.
Where it's just no, I didn't want to know any of this.
And there are 2 other Avengers titles.
I've looked in on them. I haven't been super excited about them. New Avengers and
I'm with you on that.
Avengers. But both of them have some people who are really enjoying them.
Well, Duggan, I think, he writes characters great. Unfortunately, that art is not
it would be
matching
Jerry
the
Duggan
story.
on Uncanny Avengers?
Uncanny.
Yeah.
And
that is by the way, for those watching, you'll know exactly who you are. If you want to see Deadpool be on the Avengers, there's a book for you right now. And some people are nope, I'm out. And some people are best book ever. You probably
Deadpool.
already know which one you are.
I'm nope. And then everyone's if you're a 14-year-old boy, you're
What I love is that my boss who normally hates Deadpool is really enjoying that book because he's just I don't know, it's just kind of working for me.
I'm really curious about this movie. I'm really curious because it's either going to be wonderful or terrible because it's in February, which means that they may not have confidence in it, but it also may mean they know everything else is going to suck that month, so maybe Deadpool, if it's actually any good at all, it'll just totally
counter-programs the whole month.
So I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know if it's going to be a shit movie that they don't believe in, or it's an assassin movie to take all the box office receipts from the whole month of February.
I am so torn right now because I am genuinely really excited for that film. Okay,
it looks great.
What
so
you've
far.
shown me, I'm on board.
Look good.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm I don't want a fucking Deadpool oversaturation of my comics because I'm not the biggest fan of Deadpool.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Well, you're a grown man. It's
they tried to do the new Spider-Man Deadpool series came out 2 weeks ago. To team
how
up.
was it?
Dick jokes.
Well, that's Deadpool. That's Deadpool.
It did not relate for me. So much dick jokes.
Yeah.
And I was I think there's a story in here, but really it's just a bunch of dick jokes.
Well, okay, let's move on from Deadpool and talk about these female books over here. Amy, take it away.
Right,
we got
so
3.
Part of the reason that I can't be mad at Marvel right now is that they're doing a bunch of weird stuff, and that weird stuff is hey, Amy, here are some books you're gonna love.
Yeah.
Maybe 3 other people will love them, but we don't care. They're just for you. That's how I feel about Marvel right now. Because they are giving me things like the previously mentioned Unbeatable Squirrel Girl, which,
so
man,
meta.
I'm not particularly proud of this, but this is, every month I think that I have over-remembered how good this book is, and every month I am again knocked on my butt.
When are you going to do Squirrel Girl cosplay? When is that going to happen?
I gotta cut all my hair off again.
We'll get you a wig. It's fine.
If only
we'll get you a
I
wig.
had any talent at making stuff at all. So the great thing about this book is that I literally have families at the store who are reading this to their 3-year-old daughters and sons, which is amazing. But it's also still full of detailed computer science jokes, which makes sense to a tiny fraction of the audience. But they're being written with great humor and humanity and intelligence by Ryan North and illustrated by Erica Henderson, same team from the book this past spring. She solves every problem through figuring stuff out. But there's still tons of action and punching in the book. There are jokes on the bottom of every page. you invest in all of their relationships with each other, but at the same time, the whole thing is completely ridiculous. And you shouldn't be able to pull that off. You should either be like, normally it's like either there are stakes or there are no stakes. And this one somehow, like, we're an inherently ridiculous universe, and you're still gonna care about everything that happens. And that should not be working. But it is now for the 11th issue straight of there are 2 trades available of her series from last spring. They make a joke out of the problem we've been mentioning about having to start over at number 1 by just putting it on the dang cover of this one. There's also Howard the Duck, which is not up here, but like Marvel has embraced that you can tell different kinds of stories completely.
Yeah, they're not all serious.
Don't forget, they got Chip Zdarsky writing.
Yeah.
I mean, Howard the Duck, and it's perfect.
I read HellCat. I'm a big fan of HellCat.
Patsy Walker HellCat.
Charles Soule got me into her because she was in his run on She-Hulk, and I was like, fuck, this character is so great. She's just a crazy cat lady with a costume. She doesn't even really have any powers. Like, really, like nobody.
She's picked some stuff up over the years, but she started being a superhero because she felt like it.
Because and the fact that her character used to be a romance comic character, and somehow she's survived from the romance days. Oh, now she's just a crazy cat lady. She was one of Marvel's
best-selling comics when she was just like, and they're making a plot thing out of that, which is hilarious because somebody they eventually Marvel put her own history as a romance comics character into continuity.
Yes.
And like they're just like, use it, use everything, and just throw it into this.
Again, it's another meta kind of situation. She's still working for She-Hulk, so you kind of still get that flavor. If you like the She-Hulk run, you get a little bit of that in here. She's hanging out. She loses her job. Jennifer Walters like, I can't fucking pay you, sorry. And then she gets kicked out of living in a closet, and she meets this new guy, and he's a telekinetic or something, and I think he's probably gay, I'm pretty sure, and then they're gonna be roommates, and it's really cute.
Which kids don't move in with strangers, but
yeah.
But it's so adorable.
You know, I've moved in with strangers. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. It's 50-50. But it's
you want to add some spice to your life? Just troll Craigslist for a minute. Who knows?
There's drinking. The only thing that I wish about this is like it is a little all ages, and like Patsy Walker is kind of like in the She-Hulk run, she's kind of like slutty and crazy and drinks a lot and like goes and makes bad decisions and like
I'm sorry, but
wants to punch people for no reason.
The scene when they decide to go out drinking and she's like, you're just as drunk as I am. Just go punch some guys from AIM.
Like
the way that she convinces Jennifer to go do that.
They're drunk, and she's like, let's go buzz this AIM headquarters. We're drunk. Like, that's hilarious. And, like, I would like to see more of that. I don't know if I'm necessarily going to get that in this comic. I mean, I'll kind of check back on it and see what's going on.
But having margaritas, they probably
they were
have
still
quite as much of that. And I can see that being a thing.
But they were in a gay bookstore. They were in
did you read the book titles in that? Like,
oh, man, I love when she's looking at one called Butts, and she's, like, has this, like, weird look on her face. Like, she's really excited to look at this gay butts like book. It's really funny. It's adorable.
I hope I won't get us censored. But some book titles from this store: Big Book of Plaid, Beer with a Queer, Oh Man, and Oh Mama. Both of which are muscle magazines. This one that just says chests.
Yeah.
It's a dude with some abs. She's reading Butts, Volume 9.
Volume 9, Butts. And I think she has this, like, little, like, dirty look on her face. Like, she's so cute.
Hold on. Let's be brief with underwear on the front?
Yeah. So.
And for the record, this says Bear With Me, and it's a guy wearing the same shirt as this guy. So being kind of subtle here, but not that subtle.
Yeah, so,
I love it.
So it's in there. I'm hoping maybe we'll get a little bit more of that. I don't know. We'll see. And then we have Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur.
This one is
like, what?
Super all-ages nonsense. Based on the classic Jack Kirby all-ages nonsense comic, Moon Boy and Devil Dinosaur.
It's directly tied to it.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that.
And they've made up a brand new character in Moon Girl here. Which is a derisive nickname given to her by her less nerdy and less understanding junior high school peers because junior high's the worst.
Yeah.
It
was for me.
Grade?
Yeah.
That's why we read comics.
Yes.
But Devil Dinosaur is from a crazy past, and he's going to get plucked into modern day New York and run around having adventures with our little science heroine here who has won my heart.
And he is a giant red T-Rex.
He sure is.
He's kind of technically his own species, I think, of dinosaur.
He's a double dinosaur, guys. Come on.
But,
And he's a Jack Kirby creation, just running around modern day. Like, look at this art, guys.
Did you guys ever read Agents of Hate?
Next Wave? No.
Next
I
Wave?
need to read the book.
Yeah, Devil Dinosaur was in that, and that was pretty funny. That was pretty good. I was into that.
I thought it was great how they
really
used
good
him.
stuff about
Sam Humphries using him in Planet Hulk, the Secret Wars miniseries was fantastic. I thought it was really cool how, They go from quirky, crazy character to like something really brutal and like a Conan-like environment. So be ready for the Devil Dinosaur like renaissance that we're gonna go through right now. It's happening. Can I get real for a second?
Yeah.
I know that we just kind of like showed all these cute comics. I'm just gonna put it out there right now. I'm the type of asshole that loves Lumberjanes. Like I read everything.
What?
You'd be surprised.
Lumberjanes is wonderful.
You'd be surprised. These are awesome. I love Squirrel Girl. I love Moon Girl. Like, whenever I do my comic book reviews and everyone's like, yeah, dude, you get the new, like, X-Men, like, 500. It's totally awesome. I'm like, yeah, but did you read Lumberjanes? It was better.
Yeah, I know.
I'm that guy.
Yeah, well,
so you need to understand, these are great.
Yeah.
Seriously.
That Uncanny X-Men thing that I was reading was like, oh, we're all villains, and it's like Sabretooth and, like, Monet, and I was just like...
I love Monet because she's from my Generation X, but I don't much recognize her. We should throw it. I should throw out the caveat. I don't like that artist, and it's just a thing where not every artist for everybody.
Yeah.
And I'm not a big fan of him, and so it's gonna make it tough for me to be fair to Uncanny X-Men, which has some really interesting characters on it.
You know what? I'm torn because, I mean, Bunn writes a really, really,
All right, guys, so we've already gone way too far on this one, so that's it for our Marvel, all new, all different reviews of everything.
I think this is very good. You guys provided a good mix of characters and opinions.
Yeah.
Balanced it out. Amy balanced it out really well.
Yeah, no, fair and
we
balanced.
needed that.
That's
Sometimes
Amy.
we'll just...
Thanks, guys.
I don't know. There's a lot going on. It's
I'm a little more cynical.
Give everyone a little plug for the things.
Yeah, okay, so Kirk, where can they find you on Twitter?
Twitter at Kirk Likes Stuff, and also my new website, actually our new website, launches at the end of February. ASXcomica.com.
Nice.
All right, Amy.
You can find me on Twitter at EnthusiAmy, my YouTube channel, and all of the cooking stuff.
And yeah, I'm at TVGirl18, whatever. T-Bone, what about you?
You can find me behind the curtain, turning dials and bells and whistles and turning on cameras.
Turn to your nearest curtain.
Stuff that no one knows that I'm doing.
So that's it. So, and if you want to keep going, you want to hear more about comics, we're going to be talking about some DC and some Image stuff